Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the brand new Amazon Echo Buds. Amazon is going into the market of providing us earbuds that include noise cancellation, their assistant, as well as the fact that they're supposed to last us a long time with a case that recharges them on the go. So there's a lot of cool things going on there, but of course, since this is Amazon, they're providing it to us at a really good price point. So today I'm going to share with you guys the things that I liked and the things that I don't like, some of my concerns about something that literally is coming out at the end of 2019, still having some, I would say 2017 tech, maybe, but let's not waste any time. Let's check out the brand new Amazon Echo Buds. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here's the box, pretty simple. The Echo Buds by Amazon. We have Bose active noise reduction right there. Of course, compatibility with most of the services that Amazon offers. Now, they do say made for iPhone and iPad, which is a little bit of an issue because it actually worked on Android quite well. It has an Android application and it works well with it. But this is intended so that people that have an iPhone or an iPad know that this will work well with them since there is an application for them. Other than that, they feature the Alexa Assistant, Amazon Assistant, as well as Bluetooth and sweat resistant with the IPX4 rating that we have here. So definitely workout ready and very, very easy to use. So here we are, the buds are centered. Right there you can see Echo Buds. The rest of the stuff in the box, we have USB charging cable, so this is going to be something we can talk about, and of course additional ear tips and ear fittings, not just the tips themselves. They provide us little extra tips in case the actual the actual buds themselves don't fit quite nicely in your ear. Now, I've been using them since last night. For the most part, this fit just really, really well out of the box. I don't need to worry about them. But if you need them, they're here. They also include things to try and of course important information as far as the Alexa. And here, last but not least, some setup instructions if you need them. You do need to have the application installed and running on your phone, so either be it an Android or an iOS device, you could definitely use it there. But looking around the actual buds themselves, what you can see essentially is the Amazon logo sitting right there. There's not much else going on. Nothing on the left. On the back is basically just an opening mechanism. And of course, on the right side, we have the charging port. Now, the charging port is a micro USB port. It's one of my first little bugs about this is the fact that in 2019, everything is for the most part has switched over to USB-C. Everything actually for the most part runs USB-C. Most 90% of Android phones are coming out with USB-C, but to provide us a micro USB cable on a box, that means we have to carry an additional cable now whenever we want to charge this box. Because one of the other things that this box does not have is wireless charging. So let's say we do a comparison, a quick like just box size comparison. This is the Galaxy Buds. These are the ones that Samsung announced actually at the beginning of the year, right around the Galaxy S10 release. You'll notice as far as the size, they're very similar, roughly about the same thickness, but you can imagine obviously because of the width, this has a much bigger battery, which is something that we also need to keep in mind. That this can actually work up to 20 hours worth of usage, where the buds can only go up to 13 hours. Although on actual usage, this can run up to 5 hours with the buds when they're fully charged, as far as listening to music, and this can go up to 5 hours. Both have an IPX rating, although this is IPX2, this is IPX4, so definitely more resilient here. But on the smaller form factor, we have wireless charging, we have USB-C charging, which means we can charge these things a lot faster. Even though they don't last as long, I can charge these a lot faster. I can take out the buds and actually leave the headset on any wireless charging. Even on a Samsung phone, flip it around and plug it in and actually use it as a charger. So there's a very big convenience factor that's built in here. This doesn't have noise cancellation, but they're both in ear, and you can pretty much see that the design of both of these earbuds are very similar in the way they were actually put together. So you can see they basically will appeal very similarly to the same group of people. Although when I take out the earpieces, you'll notice obviously there's a big difference in size that attributes to the actual usage. So basically up to 5 hours or up to 4 hours, up to 6 hours, up to 5 hours, that comes there specifically because of the size of the units. But end of 2019, micro USB, no wireless charging, on a product that costs $10, roughly about $10 difference between these two. So we're not really looking at a big difference between the two. The reality is, this is something you can consider. If you want to get something that has noise cancellation for a reasonable price, this is it. But charging it, this is going to take a little bit of a convenience because you have to carry around an additional cable. This is micro USB. Now that we've looked into that part, other than that itself, the actual charging case, as I mentioned to you guys, can charge these hours, can provide you up to 20 hours worth of usage. When you open up the box, there's no magnetic clasp. This is actually pretty much a spring loaded, so you can see it right there. But on the other hand, it is also very nice. The Ear tips themselves are actually magnetically connected here, so you can just align, put in, and it'll basically just sit, and they will not drop. So they are not going to drop out of this case. There's no question about that. Both of these units are running their own separate battery. They are wireless, truly wireless, indicated by right and left here. You can see them on the box. So these ear tips will feature 3 different microphones, a dual premium driver setup as far as the actual ear tips. So they're going to sound great, and they're also going to be able to pick up your sound very, very nicely. Because they include the Assistant from Amazon, they need to have really good microphones to be able to listen to you whenever you're talking. Although you want to keep in mind that that means Amazon is listening, this is very similar to, let's say, any kind of Amazon, like an Echo or an Echo Dot, any of those assistants that are always on or always listening. These headphones do the exact same thing. The other thing they also have is a proximity sensor. You can probably see it right there, sitting right next to the L, and that allows it to basically pause and resume music whenever you take the earpiece out of your ear and put it back in. And there's a button at the bottom which you can actually turn on and turn off the box, which I also assume that if you press and hold, you'll be able to turn on the pairing mechanism. Now, to be able to get all of the functionalities that they promised us here with the active noise cancellation, the pass-through audio, the EQ, the bass, all of the stuff that you want to configure on these earbuds, you do need to install the Alexa application on your phone, and then of course pair them there. The pairing is very simple. You just pair it over Bluetooth and you go through under devices, and then you can add a new one. The problem that I have with this is that to be able to control all of these, you have to A, open up the Alexa app, B, go under the Echo and Echo devices, scroll all the way down to the bottom under accessory, and that's when you find the earbuds. So you have to go through all of these steps to be able to activate them. So let's go ahead and open it up and take them out of their box so that the application comes alive. And you saw right there, it works pretty great. You have the battery level. The case itself has 65%. Both right and left ear tip are basically at 100%. Now we have 3 different options as far as the actual noise cancellation process. We have Bose ANR, so active noise reduction, that's built in here, and that works really, really well. You have the ability of setting at the volume level on the pass-through noise, which means it uses the microphones on the outside to be able to allow outside noise in, and they kind of start working kind of like, I would say, hearing aids, with the exception that obviously they do provide you the same time playing music. And of course you could just turn that off if you don't want it. We do have a built-in EQ that's built in, and you can customize it. Again, you have to go all the way in here to be able to customize it. Let's go back in here. And of course, there's the ear tip sizing test. This basically goes through a process to test out to make sure that you have a good seal for your ears, so that when you have them in your ear. So as long as you do that, you should be able to know exactly what you have. And if you're missing and it's not a right fit, they recommend you using some of the other options, the additional tips that they provide. Touch sensitivity, we pretty much have basically 2 functions on each ear. There's a double tap and a single tap and hold. Touch sensitivity is on the double tap is not that there's no issue. Double tapping works pretty good. On the touch and hold, you kind of have to just do a very firm touch and then hold for it for a second for it to initiate. But you can customize it, and you notice right there I have the Google Assistant set up on that. By default, using the Amazon keyword to turn on your assistant from Amazon will work if your microphones are on. If you turn off the microphones because you don't want obviously it to be listening all the time, then that's something that you can also use or customize it with the button option. But for me, I kept the default ones, so the active noise reduction as well as the press and pause for the assistant here, active on the right ear. On the left ear, on basically next track and play and pause. So easy, and you can customize them again as many times as you'd like. Now you have the ability of obviously doing the side tone for a call experience, and then as far as configuring the interface with the Amazon Assistant, you can turn it on by doing the hands-free, meaning you can just say the command and it'll open up and start working for you wherever you are. And of course, you can also mute the microphone. That's something that we need to have on here because of all of the controversy that's gone around Amazon and basically their assistant basically listening to everybody all the time, and then people listening to that data, and of course running analysis on some of that stuff. Now, as far as more settings, you can go in there and customize the temperature information, the location, and of course just overall, that's just very minor stuff. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Once you're done, you're pretty much set to use them. You can, of course, customize all of these things while you're using them. So let's go ahead and try them on. So as you can imagine, they're, again, very, very small, literally slightly bigger than what we get with the Galaxy Buds. So putting them in, you just insert the tip and then let it sit in your actual ear canal, well, the bottom of your ear, actually. And then you put the other one, and I do apologize if my volume level is going to change right now. Overall, the fit for me works really nice. They feel very nice, very comfortable. They're not too heavy. They don't actually hang, and there's really very little chance that they're actually going to fall off. The one thing that you'll notice when you put them in is once you put one ear in, you'll hear kind of a chime telling you that this is paired. When you put the second ear in, it takes a second after that for it to pair to each other, and then now they're back on the device. So at this point, I can actually listen to audio directly from my headphones, from the phone. I did test out as far as range. I was able to go through 2 different rooms, through 2 different walls, and I was still able to listen to the music quite clearly. I was also able to do kind of like almost across the house. So distance from your phone is going to be very, very good. Audio quality is really nice, customizable with the built-in EQ, and it actually does get a little bit bassy, so you're able to get and enjoy your dance and EDM music, or even hip-hop. So whatever bass heavy music that you like to listen to, these will do well. And I was actually kind of surprised that they provided that much noise, as far as the ability of providing that much power in there. Sound quality, and as far as using the microphone, overall in phone calls I didn't have any problems. The other person could hear me very well. There was no issue as far as hearing me. But when I was trying to use this for, let's say, voice dictation, I realized that for some reason or another, sometimes it picks up the wrong words, and I couldn't really pinpoint it if this was the speech to text kind of feature going wrong, or is it just the fact that the microphones didn't hear me well. So it's just one of those things. When I spoke louder, it did work a little bit better. So what I would say essentially is they work quite well. 3 different microphones to provide us great audio, and of course the interaction with the assistant. So one of the really cool things about this is, and I do want to say, mention to you guys, is the lights are going to go off. Alexa, turn off video lights. So I have a way of obviously automating my video setup. Alexa, turn on video lights. And of course we have to give it a few seconds for it to for the camera to actually work quite well. So overall automation on this is going to be very, very easy and very intuitive. This is very similar if you're using obviously the Google Assistant, so you just obviously don't have a way of initiating it with voice. So that's a little bit of a difference there. For Google Assistant, you just need to press and hold, and whatever shortcut you set up, you get to use it there. All in all, using these headphones are going to be very simple. Again, just carry these in your pocket, and for the most part, you'll be able to have all day battery life as far as usability. And keep in mind that whenever you're not using them, you put them back in the case and they charge. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, we have the ability of initiating actions using the gestures. So an example would be if I press and hold on my right ear, we get the Google Assistant, as you guys saw right there. And of course, if I actually want to just be able to start and pause the music, and the music will work really nice. Now, one thing that's really, really nice, so if let's say I'm listening to music and somebody comes over to me and I just do this, I just take the ear tip, one of the ear tips out of my ear. Because of that proximity sensor that's built into the actual unit itself, it actually automatically pauses the music. Now, once I put the earphones back in, that is a very cool feature, because you don't necessarily have to turn on active noise cancellation and then turn off or do anything like that. Now, as far as the actual active noise cancellation themselves, once you want to turn them on, you just double tap. And you get a vocal indicator, and it's a weird way. And it's almost like you just turned off the world. Everything just becomes quiet. Just absolutely quiet. I tried it out yesterday when I was walking around with my son, and it just absolutely kind of almost drowned out everything else that was around it. You can control how much pass-through you have through it, so if you want to turn it off, you can just double tap, and then it does pass through on, and you can also increase the volume of the pass-through. The one thing you do want to keep in mind, obviously, is the fact that the assistant is built in and it is on all the time. As I showed you guys with that demo, you just have to initiate the word. If you do not want the microphones to listen to you all the time, you can turn them off within the application. There is no option to do that all the time. So you can either have that assistant on all the time, or you could just turn off the microphones for that functionality. And of course, just basically use the touch sensitivity to initiate the assistant. And that way it works quite well for you. So I think for me, that's probably going to be the main way to use it. As far as the actual experience, 24 hours after having these guys, I have to say that they actually work quite well. I think overall battery life still has to be tested, but they look promising. The battery case is actually a lot bigger. The actual pieces themselves are a lot bigger. So my only gripe about this essentially right now is there's a couple of things going on right here. At $129, yes, we are getting at a much cheaper price point Bose active noise cancellation or noise reduction. And that's definitely something to be appreciated, but using micro USB on a device that's coming at the end of 2019 to me is like, who lost the bet kind of thing, you know, and we have to put micro USB on this. Because that's a cable we just don't carry with us anymore. All of our phones are either Lightning or they're using USB-C. So micro USB becomes a non-starter for me, because I have to carry an extra cable in case I'm traveling, and if I forget it, I have to go buy an extra cable. No wireless charging for a secondary option of charging in case you do forget that cable, so to kind of say, well, you know, don't worry about the micro USB, is also another factor for me. That's something that is present right now on the Galaxy Buds. Now, they don't last as long, they don't have noise cancellation or noise reduction like the Amazon Buds are, but keep in mind that they actually are pretty good, and they've lasted me for a long time, and they've been my daily driver. So I'm going to keep using these guys for another week and give you guys a kind of a wrap-up review of these, but the initial impression is out of the box, these are definitely very promising. Great audio, long battery life, great microphones, great functionality of integrating basically the Amazon Assistant and the Google Assistant on Android, and of course Siri if you're using this obviously on an iOS device. This should work the exact same way on an iOS device. Let me know in the description below, what do you guys think about the brand new Amazon Buds? Are you thinking about picking them up, or does the micro USB bug you as much as it bugs me? Because for me, end of 2019, USB-C all the way. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.